Sometimes nice guys finish last in the NFC West.
Get that stuff out of here. It's Southwest Bias.
Welcome into another edition of Southwest Bias, brought to you by our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. If you've had a serious injury, call the Husband and Wife Law Team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at thehusbandandwifelawteam.com. And we are live from Studio K, brought to you by our friends at Circle K. Become a member of the Inner Circle today for free by downloading the Circle K app. And the Arizona Cardinals did something that nobody thought they actually would do. Reports for the last couple of weeks made it sound like Jonathan Gannon was going to get a reprieve, that they were going to hide behind the shield of an injury-riddled season, that 15-36 was just going to be a number we had to deal with the fact that the Arizona Cardinals gave up the most points in the history of their franchise with a defensive head coach was just something we were going to have to sit back and take as a fan base. The fact that they had the most losses in the history of the franchise that goes back to 1898, that we were just going to have to sit here and take it. And we were going to have to listen to platitudes, and we were going to have to listen to reasons why. Well, guess what? Michael Bidwell did the right thing by the fans. He fired Jonathan Gannon this morning, and while I take no joy in people losing their jobs at all, it was the move that had to be made. Because, well, Jonathan Gannon was a nice guy, and I can tell you that firsthand. Well, he was a rah-rah guy in the locker room that seemed to say the right things. He did not get the right results. And in a year where playoffs were supposed to be what happened, playoffs, yeah, that's right, playoffs were where they were supposed to finish. The fact that they finished last in the NFC West yet again and had returned to being the doormat in the NFC was an unacceptable result. But I don't think that Jonathan Gannon was fired altruistically by Michael Bidwell, that he did it out of the goodness of his heart. I think he did it because you, the fans, put the pressure on him. You, the fans, said, we will not pay for season tickets if we have to watch this. We are going to complain and scream our lungs out on every platform, PHNX and anywhere else you could get it, to let Bidwell and that entire front office know that we will not accept another year of this crap. After 35 plus years since they came to the desert, we were not going to sit back and take it and accept it that it's all right to be that bad. We've dealt with it far too many times in Arizona, and you, the fans, made it clear that that no longer would be accepted. So give yourselves a round of applause, because without you, I think that we're sitting here listening to Jonathan Gannon explain how the injuries made things go wrong. But I am so happy that we don't have to do that. As Cardinals fans, we deserve a winner. And we don't just deserve to hear, you got a winner in town like Buddy Ryan told us in the 90s, or, you know, that all these coaches have trotted out there. I mean, Dennis Green brought out charts, showed his winning record. I mean, RIP Dennis Green, but we were sold a bill of goods far too many times. And Jonathan Gannon tried to sell us on culture and a rebuild that's going to take time. And the sun will rise in the valley. Guess what? It will, but not with him at the helm. And I think part of it, if you're like me as a fan, that kind of did it in, was the press conferences days after losing and giving up 40-plus points and losing in heartbreaking fashion and being told I was good with the calls. Everything was good. Just didn't go our way, but our guys have been practicing hard. At some point, Jonathan Gannon needed to acknowledge the fact that this season went as poorly as we all saw it with our eyes. That Drew Petzing was not building and or calling an offense that was going to be good enough to compete in the NFC West. We all saw it like 3 weeks into this season, yet he never admitted it and he never saw it. And that, as a fan, I think was just as frustrating, if not more so, than the losing. We're not stupid. We saw it, and we knew it, and you voiced it, and that's why there's going to be a new head coach in the Valley. And now conversation will turn to what kind of a head coach should it be? And I don't think you can go with somebody that is a first-time head coach, that does not have experience in leading an NFL franchise. When you're in the NFC West, you're playing big boy football, and you need a coach that knows how to coach big boy football. Put on those pants and figure out a way to win in the toughest division in football. Whether you have guys injured or whether you are full strength, you need to be there, and you need to have your guys ready week in, week out without excuses. We have not had that the last 3 years. Now, I don't think you can go a defensive coach again. That's just not the way that the NFL works right now. And it's not what you need when you're going to have to go out and find a new quarterback. Whether you try to have a reclamation project of an older quarterback that you bring in with some experience, or you draft a guy with that top 3 pick that you have, number 3. You're going to need a coach that can mold that guy, that can turn them into the next great quarterback. And honestly, the first great homegrown quarterback that the Cardinals have ever had. You have to figure that out and get it right. Because in the NFL, you have to win with a good quarterback and a coach that's just as good alongside him, and coordinators that are just as good alongside him. And you have offensive weapons. You have the best tight end in the game, a guy that finished with the second most receptions in the NFL, was first in all tight end categories, including receiving yards, touchdowns, anything that you want, he was number 1. You've got Michael Wilson, who emerged in week 14 and wound up essentially getting all his 1,000 yards in those final few weeks of the season. Okay, not all of them, but most of them. And emerged as a guy that is at least a 1B in an offense, if not a 1A. Marvin Harrison Jr. did not have a chance to reach his full potential because of injuries in an offense that didn't make sense. You have the offensive pieces. I mean, Paris Johnson Jr. is a quality offensive line piece. You have to get somebody in here who can put it together and figure out how to make this work offensively. Bring in a quality defensive coordinator who can grow those young players on the defensive side and put them in a position to succeed. You have talent on both sides of the ball. It's now time to turn them into a cohesive football team. And whoever you hire next has to be up to that challenge. Because, well, the 2026 playoff mandate was put out there with the mindset that Jonathan Gannon was the coach. That should still be your mindset with whatever guy you hire. Whatever offensive-minded coach you bring in, playoffs is the goal. Talked with Bo Brock on the Emergency podcast, and he said, this isn't a rebuild, this is a remodel. So bring me a contractor that knows how to do the job, not a first-time guy that's going to try to figure it out and you hope it's done right. I want a fully licensed and bonded construction guy in your head coach, and I want him on the offensive side of the football. Because if you are not trying to win, then what the hell is the point? Because I don't care if Michael Bidwell lines his pockets with our money or not. I care if we get to see a competent football team that gives us hope. And the Phoenix Suns have given a blueprint. Now, granted, they went with a first-time head coach, but they had just had 2 head coaches that were experienced and had failed. But the premise is the same. Committing to what you think is the way to win. A belief system and bringing in guys that fit that and a head coach that fits that as well. That is what you need to do. The Arizona Cardinals need to figure out who they are as an organization and a football team. Because far too long, that reputation has been laughingstock. That reputation has been not knowing their head from their ass. And sure, you got reprieves with Ken Wisenhunt in the Super Bowl run and Bruce Arians and his run. But I no longer want to remember the bad times and the dark times. If Monty Ossenfort's still in that seat, he has to, as Schaff says, set the tone, decide what it is, and find the guy who's going to be that at head coach and at quarterback. If Monty Ossenfort gets to stay and he's the one that gets the reprieve, then he needs to be the one to fix his own damn mess, to find the head coach that is going to change the tide, that is going to make this team actually a winner. Because that is all that they need and all that we deserve. As fans, we should not have to put up with the crappy football that we've had to watch. We should not have to put up with, when we wear Cardinals gear outside of our own city, wondering if we're going to get laughed at. If when we walk into our own home stadium, State Farm Stadium, that we're going to be met with more opposing fans than our own. If you remember, and it suffered through the Sun Devil Stadium days, if you have the burn marks from the metal bleachers on your ass still, you deserve a winning football team. If you came in during the Super Bowl run and that was your first introduction to Cardinals football and then you had to suffer after that, you deserve a winning football team. If Bruce Arians brought you in and Carson Palmer, and that was what excited you about Cardinals football, you deserve a winning team. We all deserve winning football in the Valley. And for too long, we have gone without it. For too long, we've had to sit here and be embarrassed and suffer through it. And listen to those day after Monday morning press conferences and get platitudes and just have smoke blowing up our backsides. I'm done with it. For me, this is the final straw. Find the right quarterback, find the right coach. Get it right now or get out. Because this city has dealt with cheapness. This city has dealt with stupidity and the inability to get things right. The mandate from the fans is now. And they laid that out. And that's why Jonathan Gannon isn't here anymore. And it's time that everyone else in that organization steps up and learns how to create a winner in the Valley. And I don't want it, 2020, no, 2026, 2027, there needs to be a playoff appearance. There needs to be a quarterback that defines the future, and there needs to be a head coach that you believe in. Because last night, I saw that graphic that always pops up at the end of the season that shows NFL franchises without a title. And it's a 77-year drought. The Cardinals are at the top of it. And I'm sick of it, quite frankly. I've seen a handful of playoffs in my time here as a Cardinals fan. 37 years and only a handful of playoff experience and playoff appearances. Only a handful of playoff wins. It needs to end now, and that next hire and that next quarterback is going to determine whether they do it. So Michael Bidwell, Monty Ossenfort, you're on the clock. Good luck. But maybe that's just my Southwest bias. We welcome in the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. Shane, how you feeling about a coaching change?
It was very necessary.
I agree. I was actually quite surprised at the fact that we wound up getting this news, because I was prepared to sit here today, talk a little Suns, and spend the second half of the program talking about how Cardinals fans were done wrong. Watch the worst team in franchise history, and then get told, oh, guess what? Changes aren't coming. I'm glad it happened.
Yeah, I was pretty shocked that it was being reported that he was safe, pretty matter of fact. It wasn't like expected, and I mean there were some reports that he's expected to come back, but it was mostly like the feeling is that Jonathan Gannon will be back.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that was everything we heard.
Why was that the feeling? I just, it never made sense to me.
Because I think that was the way that they were actually going to approach this. And fans got so loud and spoke with their money saying, I'm not renewing season tickets, that it changed the tide. I think that is the only reason that this decision was made. And that's why I think Cardinals fans need to keep the pressure on.
And push for what?
Winner. If this team looks abysmal, if this next coaching hire is a joke, continue to put the pressure on. Say, I'm not renewing my season tickets. I'm not buying tickets. Guess what? I can buy NFL Sunday ticket and watch any team in the NFL I want.
Yeah, I think that I genuinely believe that the amount of coaches available in the cycle had something to do with this, just because of how, like, I don't think it changed their decision, but like if the scale was being tipped any certain way, that little stone could have made that 50-50 go to 51.
I mean, do you think Raheem Morris getting the boot, a guy who actually had significantly more success over the last 2 years, winning more games than Gannon did in 3 years, that may have pushed it a little bit, realizing how big of a joke you were going to look like if you kept this guy?
Yeah, I also just think like I mean, shit, if Tyler Loop makes that field goal, then you're probably looking at Tomlin being on the market too. Yeah, I do think, because I think Stefanski being available, I think Raheem Morris being available, I think the plethora of coordinators that have outgrown their position already being available is something that contributed to this. Like, if I'm the Cardinals, I'm going that route. I'm going one of those two guys, probably more leaning Stefanski, just because he's shown to be a culture setter. Anybody that can turn the vibes around in Cleveland, regardless of if you're coaching a football team or working at a supermarket, should deserve praise. And he's done that. And I think that's what you need more than anything. I think the offensive and defensive minded point is a little moot to me when the core and the foundation of this house is so rotten. Like, you really need that guy that's going to come in here and fix everything like that. And Gannon, while he was a rah-rah and a motivator and a really energetic coach, I don't know how much he was able to change that negativity immediately. Because, I mean, if we remember, the first impression the Cardinals fans had of him was, oh my God, this guy's corny. Like,
he was.
And does that translate to the culture? Probably not. But you need somebody that's going to just fix it immediately, change that immediately.
I mean, Jonathan Gannon was a nice guy. There's no doubt about that. And I think that only can take you so far. Sometimes you have to be willing to be the guy that wants to break your foot off in somebody's ass because you're so pissed off about it, especially in football. And I don't think that's the only reason it didn't work. But I think when he was looking at Drew Petzing and not firing him and not making moves, I think that played into it. And that is an extremely frustrating thing. By the way, fun fact, Ed Stefanski, Kevin Stefanski's father, a special consultant for the Phoenix Suns. So there is a Stefanski connection in the Valley already. On the other side of the break, we'll continue our conversation about Jonathan Gannon, get some final thoughts right here on Southwest Bias. Time to tell you about our friends at the Husband and Wife Law Team. I've been in a serious accident and I suffered injuries. My family was in the car too. And I did not research who I should get as a lawyer. Well, guess what? I've done the research for you because Mark and Alexis Breyer, the Husband and Wife Law Team, they care. And they specialize in injury and accident law. In fact, all their lawyers do, and less than 1% of all lawyers are certified in that by the Arizona State Bar. Well, the lawyers at the Husband and Wife Law Team are. And you can get in touch with them at any time. Plus, you're going to take home more than they take home in this. They care and they want to make sure that you are taken care of as well. And that is why you've got to click the link in our description, because if you've got a serious injury, call the husband and wife law team first at 602-783-8841 or visit their website at the link in our show notes and tell them PHNX sent you. And Phoenix Raceway. That's right. It's coming back to the desert. March 5th through the 8th is going to be race weekend at Phoenix Raceway. But it's not just NASCAR. It's the NTT IndyCar as well in the same weekend for the first time in Phoenix. It's so much racing that you might not even be able to handle it. But you're going to get the best access in all of motorsports as you can go inside the garage, walk the tracks, meet the drivers, and catch the pre-race concert. I did this at one of the races. It is one of the best experiences in all of sports because I got to go into the Desert Diamond Casino infield experience. I highly recommend it. Plus, you're going to watch the 2025 Cup Series champion Kyle Larson return to the track where he won it all back in November. It's NASCAR NTT IndyCar Series weekend at Phoenix Raceway, March 5th through the 8th. Secure your seats now at the link in our description. I got to tell you, B's in the chat suggesting Phillip Rivers as the next head coach of the Arizona Cardinals is funny. He says he's only half joking, but to me, that would mean he would also be the best quarterback on your roster at the same time. That would be interesting. Shane, are you ready to babysit 14 kids?
No, I don't have that kind of bandwidth right now.
Some grandkids. I mean, somebody called him a leader of men. I believe those are just his sons that he's been leading. As well. So, hey, a lot of excitement from Cardinals fans with the prospect of who their next head coach could be. Jacob mentioning Mike McCarthy, Robert Saleh, Clint Kubiak, and saying those need to be your top three choices. I think there are a plethora of options, but this is going to turn from excitement to the reality of how much that has to get done this off season and how much you have to get right. Coaching hire, quarterback, so much more that you're going to have to figure out. And I know that what I love about that, our emergency pod and this show is we see that there are passionate Cardinals fans that care so damn much. And that's why I hope so damn much that they get this right and they get the number 3 pick right. I appreciate all the bias in the chat. All of you that are here for the first time experiencing Southwest Bias, thank you so much for being here. Hit that like button before you head out. And if you enjoy this and all the programming on PHNX, hit that join button and become a member of the Supporters Club. Just $5. You're going to get exclusive videos, unlock emojis. You are going to love all of it. And Johnny and Bo, our Cardinals guys, are going to have some of the best exclusive content when it comes to the coaching search and the draft and free agency there for you. Really appreciate it as well. Make sure if you are looking for something to do tonight, come on out to Wild Horse Pass down there, Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Suns watch party tonight, 5:30. Suns, Rockets, myself, the whole PHNX Suns crew will be out there, and drinks on me as well. My final thoughts here when it comes to Jonathan Gannon. It was the only move that should have been made. And I'll put on my tinfoil hat for a second. I actually think the fact that Cliff Kingsbury may get a head coaching job and that Michael Bidwill won't have to pay him anymore could have weighed a little in this decision, because we've seen the track record when it comes to the Bidwills and paying lots of money. Hopefully that changes. Hopefully the entire culture of the Arizona Cardinals changes and that you get in a head coach and a quarterback that can handle it. Make sure to tune in 4:30 p.m. for PHNX Cardinals. Johnny, Bo, all the reactions, everything from the press conference, and check out PHNX_Cardinals and at Bo Brock for coverage live from the press conference at noon with Michael Bidwill and Monty Austin for the mustache behind the Mac, Shane Diefenbach. Follow him at Shane Dief. You can follow the program at PHNX_sports. You can follow me at Espo. And remember, it's never fun when somebody gets fired, but the hiring process, well, that could be interesting. Oi, oi.
We all silly like the mayor.